Okay, good. All right, now we're learning the Sichot of the Rebbe, and we're just concluding it. And if you remember Parshas Pekude, and the Rebbe asked the main question, why is this week's Torah portion, Vayakel Pekude, basically just a repetition of what we already learned 2-3 weeks ago in Truma and Tetzaveh, namely the building of the tabernacle and the vessels and the priestly garments. It said we already learned the whole thing, all the details before. And now this week, we're just repeating all the details. And the Torah makes such an emphasis on being economical and terse with its words. Sometimes even from one letter, you can learn out hundreds of laws. You know, here we're repeating not just one letter, we're repeating thousands of letters, hundreds and hundreds of words, sentences, repeating them. Why? So the Rebbe said the reason is, first of all, everything in the Torah has its own significance. Like we can see from the offerings that the heads of the tribes brought when the tabernacle was open. They brought exactly the same thing, and the Torah repeats the same thing, just changes the name of the person who brought it, repeats the same thing 12 times. That's in Parshas Nasi. Why? Because each and every one is something different. But here it's really significant because what was written in Parshas Truma and Tetzaveh is talking about what God gave to Moses on Mount Sinai. It's talking about the spiritual tabernacle, the ideal spiritual tabernacle. And here what's talking about is the really main tabernacle, the one that's in the earth, down here in the ground, the one that we make. And that's why it's so important. And the Rebbe said that's also the reason why in the Talmud Yerushalmi, we learn that the 18 blessings of the Shemona Esrei are learned from the 18 times that God says it was done. But ta'aseh, and do, ta'aseh. The 18 times that it was mentioned in this week's Torah portion that God spoke to Bezalel and Haliav. So the Gemara says, one second, it's not 18, there's 19 times it says it spoke to Bezalel Haliav. And the Gemara answers, no, it's not so. One of those times, God spoke only to Bezalel. He didn't speak to Haliav. Therefore, we learn 18 blessings. What's the point? What's the point? The point is that Bezalel was the highest of all the tribes. He was the most spiritual and elevated. And Haliav was the lowest. He was from the tribe of Dan. It says that's in fact why God chose the two, because he wanted the highest and the most simple. So they have to be together, the highest and the most simple. Those 18 times that were spoken, that God said, do, make the temple, make it 18 times, right? It had to be to both of them together. The one time when it was said only to Bezalel, that doesn't count. That was just spiritual. And that was just spiritual. So the main thing is to be physical. That's the whole point he wants. Okay, so now we're in the middle of this question. Why does it have to be a Haliav? Why does it have to be this Haliav? He has to be the most simple one. Why? So we'll see. Not only that, Yehuda is also, it says this, the word Yehuda means also praising God, also humility. So that should be enough that God said this extra time to Bezalel, who's from the tribe of Yehuda, from the tribe of Judah. That should be enough to make it enough a reason to have 19 prayers, right? 19 prayers. Why is it just because this thing of doing was said one time to Bezalel alone? We don't count that. Only the times when they're together. Why? So the Rebbe is explaining. Often pasuk on the pasuk, there's a sentence Sulam Mutzav Artzav Rosh Shamayma. Remember the story that Jacob, he went by Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva, the Parshat Vayetze, that Jacob, Yaakov, he went out from where he was living, and he went to to go to Lavan's house to get a wife and etc. And they said when he was there, he laid down to sleep and he saw a ladder standing groundward, not on the ground, but artsa, in the direction of the ground, going down. He saw a, a ladder that was standing in the direction of the ground, and the top of the ladder was going in the direction of the heavens. Shemaima. Zok the Zohar says, Sulam, this ladder that Jacob saw, this was prayer. Tefillah. In the Midrash, it says, this Sulam, this is Torah. In Chassidus, it's explained the difference between Torah and Tefillah and prayer. What was this ladder that he saw? He said, well, the ladder was the ladder of prayer. It went from below to above. Another place it says, no, the ladder was the ladder of Torah. Torah is coming from above to below. Torah is Hamshacha Milamay Lamat. Torah is from Ibn Arab. The whole thing of the Torah is, here it is. It's like God laid telephone lines from his essence down into the world. The Torah is a direct call to God's essence. And tefillah is, in other words, it came down, it's already here. Tefillah, prayer, is going from below to above, from unten oif. Prayer is that this world is lacking something, and therefore, because it's lacking, so we raise up energy to God from below to above. And thus, man, this is what it means, that there is a ladder standing on the ground, and the head reaches toward the heavens, toward the ground, toward the heavens. The meaning from tefillah. This is why this ladder that Jacob saw was the ladder of prayer. Prayer is artza, in the direction of the ground, not just standing on the ground, like be, or it's on the ground with a shva be, nor but. It means mitatsu gegevener hey, ha ortsa, an additional hey at the end. What does that mean? It means as it sitzich laoretz. It means that it just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. Noch artzios nidraker care in oretz. Means just constantly going down lower and lower and lower. In other words, a person, no matter how low that he is, no matter how low that a Jew can possibly get, it says there's the ladder of prayer. The avoda, his service is nemen the devarim atachtonim, taking the lowest things that he did was licht mitachas laoretz, which are even under the ground, and elevate them to be shemaima, raising them up to heavenly things. In shemaima b'tosvos hey, not just to the heavens, but in the direction of the heavens, higher and higher and higher. Makifim la makifim, the surrounding level, like we just learned in the Sichot of the Rebbe. There's the aspect of God that fills the worlds higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Then there's what's called God surrounds the world. That's the makifim. That's even not higher. Then there's the essence of God. There's no end to how much good and truth that we can achieve. And even higher. Shemaima. And there was a person that can be the lowest of the low, God forbid, that person can elevate himself by prayer to the highest of highest, at least temporarily. Ayin, darf men milazain, the gashmis the that's what a Jew has to be. No matter how low that he is, he can elevate even the lowest things to heaven. Of course, it has to be according to the Torah, right? A person can't do sins and say, I'm going to elevate it. We have to be according to the Torah. You're not. But if a person is in such a situation, and then prayer can elevate him. That's the prayer of that's the ladder of Jacob. Like we said before, this is the avoda. This is the service we said from below to above. Avoda kaderech avoda sevet. This is like a servant. Chach mitzvah, because them gufa is da tainug, aber ir inyan is avoda sevet. Even though that it could be that there is what does it? Right. It could be that serving God is a tremendous pleasure and tremendous joy, but that's not what he's thinking about. He's thinking about serving God like a servant. Like we said, Kabbalat Ol. From the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. In other words, he's in such a situation where he has no appreciation of God whatsoever, but he just knows how low he is. And he knows he heard from somebody this, that God really cares. And so that's it, one prayer. As men get oif them. Even though that it's true that in order to pray to God, right? This person is sitting, who knows, in some bar in some terrible place, and who knows what he's doing, right? All of a sudden, he prays one prayer can elevate him. But it's true that a person has to have an inspiration. This inspiration comes from above. This is the idea of that Lovin woke up in the morning. As called Safra, that every morning is Me'ir dem Loven Elyon. Every morning a person wakes up and he realizes that for 1 second at least, that it's a big miracle that he woke up. That God exists. Is thus aber nit mer via blois and a sinus koch. This is just an opportunity. God gives you a little bit of an impetus, how do they call it, a motivation. Aber the avoda laying, but the service that you have to do it yourself. That's the ladder that stands from below to above. Dharma is first thing we can understand the connection between tefillah, prayer, and the second temple. Why? Because both of them are really one thing. The first temple is more like Torah. The first temple had the 2 tablets were there in a revealed way. The second temple, the tablets were hidden way down deep. Nobody knows where they are. The main thing of the second temple, that was prayer. Coming from a low way, Nem and Devarim Gashmi, taking physical things from the physical world, low things, Umachem from Zeh, Mishkan, and make it from them a dwelling for the creator of the universe. That was the second temple, and also the second Mishkan that we're talking about now in the first Mishkan that was mentioned in Truma Tetzaveh. That's what God told Moses on Mount Sinai. That was pure. The second one was what the Jewish people actually did, how they actually built it, taking the physical things, lower things, and elevating them. That's the first Mishkan, not the Mikdash, like I said before. The Mishkan, the first one. Okay, so the second time, this week's Torah portion, when it talks about how the Jews actually made the physical tabernacle in the world, this is like prayer, taking low physical things in this world and elevating them. What we talked about in Truma Tetzaveh, that was how God gave the commandment to Moses. That was from above to below. That's like the Torah. Mitzadem was tefillah, because the fact that tefillah goes from below to above, and that we can, through it, you can elevate even the lowest things. Unloidem bavustin lashon, like it says, is midar mitnem and afilu the pan tefil. You have to take even the pantafel. What does it mean? Pantafel. The pantafel means your shoes, I think. Means your shoes. Let me just have a look over here, the pantafel. Even the exactly what I want is not here. Okay, that's what I think it means. You have to take even. Oh, here it is. Excuse me 1 minute. What does he say? No, it doesn't translate it. No, it does. One second. I'm wrong. That's right. Even the shoes. Yeah. Even your shoes. So therefore, this is So similar, you have to take the lowest powers of your soul, thought, speech, and action, and elevate them. This was how it was in general. Is this right? Did I skip 2 pages? Just one moment. Yeah. Similar is by Jews in general, which before prayer, a person has to accept on himself the commandment of loving your neighbor as yourself. Like it says in the Kabbalah book, Pre-Eitz Chaim. This is another one of the books written by Rabbi Chaim Vital, The Wisdom of the Arizal. When their Alter Rebbe brings, and the Alter Rebbe also brings in the Siddur, that before you pray, you have to include yourself with all of the Jewish people. Men darf sich kolel mit allem zusammen, with everyone together. The reason you have to love the Jewish people and you don't have to love everybody is because, how do they say, charity begins at home. If you don't love your brother, so you're not going to be able to love your next door neighbor. Really. So, and also because loving another Jew is much more difficult than loving other people, because you know the person, and how do you say, familiarity can breed contempt. So therefore it says the first thing is, how can you possibly love everybody else? How can you love a Jew? How can a Jew love every other Jew? That's the commandment, to love every Jew. But really you're supposed to love everybody. The commandment is, how do you do it? You have to first of all stop thinking about yourself so much, about what you're going to get out of it. If the person interferes with me, if he disagrees with me, if he's the opposite of me, if he's right, he's not in my group, he's not in my color, he's not in my belief, he's not in my height, he's not in my eye color, my nose length, whatever. People hate each other because they're different. So first of all, you have to forget about, right, this idea of being different from what? From me. Don't think about yourself so much. It's different from me. Then if you don't think about yourself, then it's exactly the opposite. Then you can love everybody because they're different. They're different one from each other. You see the amazingness that God created everybody different. And the more different that they are, the more unique everyone is. There must be something there. So first of all, you can love everybody because they're all the same. They're all creations of God. And you can love everybody because they're all different. They're all unique creations of God. And that uniqueness is not just skin deep. Everybody has some special purpose, some special uniqueness, some special quality that you can learn from. It says, who is wise? Someone who learns from everybody. We've talked about this before. So it comes out that everybody has something to teach me, which means basically that I'm lower than everybody else. I'm the pupil. Everyone, on the other hand, I'm superior to everybody else. Everyone has something to learn from me. So which one is it? Am I inferior to everyone else, or am I superior to everyone else? So the answer is, forget it. Don't think of those terms. Just think about, you're the pupil and you're also the teacher. You can learn from everyone and you have something good to give her. What do you have to give her? That is a life's work, but you have to be positive. Therefore, it says you have to love everybody. That's the key to prayer. Even those Jews, which are like the level of Haliav, the lowest level, Azoi v'yeshteit, like it says in the Midrash, der gefallenster zwischen die Shvatim, the lowest of the tribes. We also have to elevate them and love them. Every person, you could say an encouraging word, a positive idea, a good look. Was das is doch der inyan from ahava l'recha. This is the whole idea of loving your neighbor as yourself. That's why it was so important that Haliav should be there also in the creation, in the building of the temple, because he was the lowest, if you want to say it, the least talented. Loit dem maimer, like it says the Baal Shem Tov, is the mitzvah of loving every Jew is oich to a yidden, even for a Jew which is in the other side of the world. You never even heard of it. Now, like I said, why especially the Jews? Because the Jews have this special job of being the teachers of the whole world. They have to teach the whole world. And you have to encourage every Jew to at least reveal inside of himself what he has to teach. right? The non-Jews don't have this obligation to be the teachers of the world. They don't have this obligation to be beneficial to all mankind. They don't have an obligation. They should do it for sure, but it's not an obligation from God. It's not attached to their essential being. They can go to heaven without this. Was hat in kein mol nit gesehen, even a Jew that you never saw before. When a Jew stellt sich daven and prays as hat schon getan. The achanas, a Jew has done all the preparations, what he has to do before prayer, and he's all ready to pray, as then was mit der etzem inyan he stellt sich daven, in which this thing he stands to pray. He stands to pray. What's the essential thing? Loving loving not only God but love also every other Jew. Ubefrad nach der hachanas, after the which are the which are before prayer, is verter doch gor stark der Heiben. He'll be elevated. Warum raised sich, because he has removed himself from all the selfish things in the world that he was previously involved, and now he's standing in front of the creator of the universe. Then a person can think, was is der malt for a sheikhus mit a Yidden? I'm so high. What connection have I got with another person, with another Jew? Was halt nachben, but he's not anywhere near my level. I'm standing here with Torah and Tefillah. I'm standing in a synagogue. There's other Jews that are so far away. What have I got a connection to him? He's not even holding by. He's the lowest person of humanity. This other Jew, I have to love every Jew. Come on, I'm thinking about God here. Zakmanim, it says no. That before you start to pray, you have to say, I accept on myself the commandment of loving every Jew like myself. Even a Jew which is on the other side of the world that I never saw him before. Even more, it says this commandment of loving every Jew is a filu even to such a Jew which is you never even saw. In other words, even before you begin to pray, and a person that you never had any connection with him. Because every single Jew is incomparably greater from me, even before I'm about to pray to the creator of the universe. What's Zayin Neshamu, because his soul, Ba'apo, says a person before he starts to pray, he says is an egotist. So it says these people, there's some Jews, they never prayed at all. They're always egotists. So I'm standing, I'm ready to pray. I'm in this tremendously high level and thinking these pure things. What have I got to think about this person? Says the Rebbe, okay, you can do what you want, but if you want to be connected to me, das is nit nor a mitzvah. It's not just a mitzvah of loving every Jew. Isn't the Sichot from the ganzen Torah, which is the foundation of the whole Torah. This is also revealed, and this is also connected not just to the Torah, but also to your praying to God, to Zayin Elios, and to your elevation. Loving another Jew is the preparation for all things of prayer. The reason for this is because the Seder Aliyah is, as man was oif given, you have to elevate even the lowest things. That's the whole idea of the tabernacle. You have to take the lowest physical things and build them into the tabernacle. That's the second tabernacle. That's this week's portion. Taking the lower things and actually making a holy temple from it. The lowest things in this case are the Jews. I mean, Jews can be pretty bad, Jews can get pretty, in communist Russia, and some of the Jews, they were the biggest murderers. God, I mean, it's just a terrible thing to say, but they were the ones who wanted to kill the Rebbe, the previous Rebbe. They're the ones that put him into jail. There was the Jewish group, they killed who knows how many Jews they killed. when it's simple, that also the soul as in sein nefesh darf mitnehmen nit nur der Betzalel. Therefore, in your soul, you have to take not only the high Jews and the Lubavitcher Rebbe and the high people in your soul, no oich dem yeruch benafsh, and also the lowest aspects of your own soul. You have to also elevate. El darf davenen mit alle kochos zusammen. You have to use all of your powers together. Mit allem machen am Mishkan from the Rebbe, making. In other words, prayer is supposed to be an all-encompassing thing. It's not just as you say the words and you make the movements and you shake back and forth. And this is the whole idea of the 18 blessings from Shmona Esrei, the 18 times which God said, Ka'asher Tziva, where it says 18 times, like God commanded. Like God commanded that you should do, like you should do, like you. The 18 times which he said in the Mishkan, this is in the second time that he talked about the Mishkan, the physical tabernacle in this world, which is built by Betzalel and the highest of the Jews and Haliav, the simplest. Because the whole purpose is to make from all of the things in the world a Haliav, the lowest things in the world, to make them into a holy temple. And by means of this, prayer can elevate also Haliav. And a lot of times you can see, like I said, who is a wise man? Someone who learns from everybody. And if you don't treat another person as your teacher, superior to you, and you don't treat another person as though he has something to teach, it could be he's not, how he is now, he's totally inferior to in every way. He should be put in jail. It could be the person is the worst person. But deep inside of him, there is something there, right? Okay, you have to have proper judges in order to tell how it is. But our general attitude should be a positive one. Inside of every Jew is something really positive that has to be revealed. And from that, you can realize that inside of every human being there is. Just like it was in the Mishkan, you elevated everything from below to above. And especially, this is the whole idea of the sacrifices in the Mishkan, which they came from. And that was the main work in the Mishkan, according to the Rambam. There was also what was called the blessings from above. After the thing of prayer, this ladder of Jacob, we said was prayer, and it's also Torah. By the building the tabernacle from the lowest things, physical tabernacle, elevating everything in the world, that's from below to above, that's like prayer. Then afterwards comes blessing from above. The blessing is, God said, Shachanti betocham, I will dwell within them. Reach nichoach, it says that God is pleased by the sacrifices. Nachat ruach. Just like the elevating. Therefore, afterwards will be v'hamshacha, drawing down godliness. Then will be brought kasher tziva. Tziva means connection. Then will be connected the Jewish people and the whole entire physical world with all the people in it to the essence of God. In other words, the ultimate truth and goodness and love of the Creator will be revealed in every aspect of His creation. Everything will be a miracle. Every human being will be a diamond. While the koach iftem, his kashrus, comes from Moshe Rabbeinu, the ability to do this comes from Moses in the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is in each and every one of us. Therefore, it says, kasher tziva et Moshe. Therefore, it says, like God commanded Moses, but really God is commanding and connecting to each one of us. Azoi oich dem inyan from tefillah, also the thing of prayer, which prayer nowadays is in the place of the sacrifices. When there is an elevation, the one who prays knows that he has to and that he is not relevant to anyone except for God, right? The one who's praying is just all there is God. That's all there is to him. Is durch them, by means of this, he will draw down from, that's the sacrifices, offering it up totally to God. By means of this, he will draw down from above all of the blessings which he needs. the sick will be healed, his money problems will be finished. The Halav Hamshacha poilt dem Chibur und Vereinigung from the mention mit Elokus. And this will cause a revelation and a connection between the one who is praying and the creator of the universe until the highest level of the unification there can possibly be. Like we end the prayer, Hashem Yaborech et Amo b'shalom, with complete peace, which is going to be peace in the whole world when the goodness of everyone is revealed and appreciated by everybody else. And that the Mashiach will certainly accomplish, just like Moses took the Jews out of Egypt, as Mashiach will take the Egypt out of the Jews, and eventually the goodness of every human being will be revealed in the Geula Emitit V'Shlema, by means of Mashiach Tzikenu now. And now let's just learn the Yom Yom, right? Learn the Yom Yom. Here we go, let's do another share. This will take 3 minutes. Is this being recorded? I hope so. 1 minute. Recording, good. Share the screen. Here it is, Yom Yom. Today's Yom Yom. My father said, this is the words from the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. So his father was the 5th Rebbe. Truth is the middle path. A person that goes too much to the right or too much to the left is not good. What it means too much to the right? To be overly stringent with yourself and find faults or sins not according to the truth, or to the left, to be overly indulgent, covering one's faults or being lenient in demands for avoda. Both of these ways are false. From my father's Sichot, the sin of Aaron's sons was, you know, the story that it's in Parshas Shmini, that it says that the first day that the tabernacle was open for business, right, after the 7 days of the inauguration and this, the day that the first of the tribes, it was the first day of Nisan, the first of the tribes brought their sacrifices. Before any of this, the 2 sons of Aaron, they were so tremendously holy, they couldn't held themselves back, and they rushed into the Holy of Holies. So it says that God killed them. It said they drew too close to God and they died. This is the Rutzav without Shuv. This is what means that they wanted to go close to God and without forgetting about the world, like we learned before in the Mimer. Remember, going close and coming back. They only wanted to come close to God without coming back. The fact is that when you come in first before God, you have to have it in mind to come back. But you have to be also, it says, be pure and clean. And this closeness must be evident in actually what you physically do in the world. That which is in the highest planes can come down to the lowest levels. Therefore, Rutzev without Shov, if you just want to come close to God and you don't want to have anything to do with the world, then the world is going to make you crazy, right? Everybody's going to make you angry or get you depressed or whatever it is. Then that's death. You don't want to have anything to do with the world. The world is so confusing. I want to get away. Well, that's, you know, in one way, Moses said it was a very good thing. You know, they were so enamored of God and they were so close and they appreciated God so much that they actually rushed into the Holy of Holies. They wanted to be close to God. That's a good thing. That you have to adapt, yes, but that's only half of the picture, and they were missing the other half, is coming back into the world. So it means God commands Moshe to speak to Aaron. The name of Aaron is nir'eh, visible, which means the powers of the soul, the intellect. Moshe has to tell Aaron that in order to go into the Holy of Holies, within the curtain, this means the level of creation before God even contracted pure godliness, is you should know that the ark, Aaron, that the word of Aaron also has nir'eh, means to be seen. You should know that you want to see God, well, you have to put a kaporet, you have to put a covering over it. You have to have an inner intention why you want to go into the upper worlds, not a selfish thing. That's what it means, the face of the kaporet. That's what it says, you won't die. And don't stop just with going closer and closer to God, because it says you have to have this inner intention and a purpose for coming out. Just like God did, the purpose why he concealed himself was to be revealed in this world. So you want to come close to God? Very good. But it has to be a purpose, and the purpose has to be revealed in this world. You want to bring godliness into the world. In other words, in simple language, to improve your personality so that you be a person that is a positive influence in the world, and not that the world is a negative influence on you. The word this is the alef. Do not. This means you have to negate yourself totally, not going to what you want, not what your intelligence says. Then you will enter into the holy area of Hashem. In other words, you have to put yourself aside. You have to be your intention of coming close to God. It has to be not just for yourself, to save yourself and save your soul or save others or whatever it is. The purpose has to be to make this whole world a holy place, to use the world in the way that God wants and reveal the Creator in His creation. Have a good day with Mashiach now. We'll have a class, God willing, at 3 o'clock, Chumash with Meforshim. Today we're going to learn Parshas HaChodesh. We're going to learn the commandment of God in Parshat Bo, near the beginning of Exodus, about sanctifying the month. Have a good day, and I hope to see you all. Shalom Uvracha.